Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here giving you my reaction to Canelo Alvarez's destruction of Avni Yildirim that took place at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida on Saturday. Of course, would love to hear your reactions as well, so please be sure to leave them down below in the comments, but I'll give you my personal take on the show itself, mostly the main event here. Obviously, the big story is Canelo and how well he was going to do, and of course the criticism going into this fight was that he's facing a no-hoper who had no chance, a waste of his prime, if you will, facing a guy like Yildirim who's just a mandatory and is really not going to belong in the ring with him. The other way to look at that, however, is that he did what a superstar is supposed to do in those circumstances. Take care of the business you need to so that you can give us the fights we want. And of course, that will be Billy Joe Saunders on May 8th, later this year. But the fight itself was exactly what Canelo was supposed to do. Went in there, took care of business. I mean, it's a shame it almost stopped when it did, but of course Joel Diaz, the trainer of Yildirim, didn't like what he heard, didn't like what he saw in the corner and stopped it, and good for him. But it's a shame from a technical enjoyment standpoint of the fight. It's a shame it stopped when it did, because it really looked like Canelo was looking to look impressive in this fight, and he was gearing up. The first fight was a little pedestrian for both. The first round, I should say. The second round of the fight got a little more Canelo friendly, and by the third, he was in complete control. There's maybe 3 to 4 punches you can say Yildirim landed in the entirety of the fight. Outside of those, including even jabs, to be honest with you. You might get more than 5 if you include jabs. It really was just a complete performance from Canelo Alvarez, and it's definitely what you're looking to see when you're watching the best fighter, or at the very least, one of the best fighters in the world, take on a guy who doesn't, quite frankly, belong in the ring with him. They have been former sparring partners, and that Canelo brought him in as the sparring partner, and that's the way it looked in the ring when it was for real. Canelo, like I said, completely dominated. And that's, like I said, what should happen. That's what you're supposed to do. Get these fights out of the way so that those Billy Joe Saunders fights happen down the road. And that's going to be an interesting fight, a very different fight. He's obviously not going to hit Saunders nearly as cleanly as he was able to hit Yildirim tonight. It's going to be much more tactical. Canelo will be out of range at times. He'll be out of rhythm at times. He'll be hit when he's not expecting it at times, because Saunders can have somewhat of a bit of a herky-jerky style at times, and he's so defensive-minded that he can throw some shots from weird positions. He's not great in terms of power, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep the Mexican honest, but still the Brit is a very talented fighter, and it will be a very interesting and intriguing unification clash in May when that fight occurs. Definitely going to be an interesting one to watch, and if, again, the goal for Canelo is total unification at 168 pounds, if he's fighting in May against Billy Joe Saunders, presuming he wins that fight, if he moves into September and fights Caleb Plant for the other portion of the 168-pound title, that leaves a date probably in December time that is up in the air, and presuming, again, that he wins these fights, which are going to be difficult, if he's able to do that, it's very interesting to see how Canelo tries to close out the year as well. But first things first, Billy Joe Saunders in May. Love to hear what you guys think about that fight and where you think it would, how you think it's going to go. Do you think Saunders is going to have much of a real shot? And I actually do. I do believe in Saunders as a fighter. I think he's a tremendous talent, especially when the chips are on the table that way. But of course, be sure to let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Would love to hear you. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB. You can also email me at junboxing@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you there. And until next time.